Could the Kansas City Chiefs trade for All-Pro Packers corner Jaire Alexander? Welcome in this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. I am Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. Coming up on today's show, we're going to explore the possibility of Alexander ending up in Kansas City. One writer that covers the Kansas City Chiefs has suggested this as a possibility. We'll tell you what he had to say, share our thoughts on it, and more coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, folks, we are getting very, very close to 72,000 subscribers on the channel. Just a little over 200 away from reaching that next milestone. Want to make sure you subscribe as we bring you our daily news and rumors. We also have live shows each and every Tuesday. We have our breaking news, community mailbags. Even when I'm away from the studio, when I'm visiting family, taking care of things at home, we are bringing you daily content here on the channel. I want to make sure you guys subscribe. And the best part about it, it's 100% free. If you guys could subscribe, just the biggest way you can thank us. People ask me all the time, how can we support, contribute to the show? Easiest way, just subscribe and help us grow here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/ChiefsTV, and we'll get started with today's show. So there's a new article out from SI's Chiefs website, and it comes from Michael Canello, who is suggesting that the Chiefs should be interested in Green Bay Packers corner Jaire Alexander. Now, to put some context into this, according to Josina Anderson, who I believe still covers the league for CBS Sports, she put out this tweet earlier this week on Jaire Alexander that said the following: I'm told there is an understanding in place between the Packers and corner Jaire Alexander to come to an agreement on his roster and contract situation first, prior to his arrival for the team's offseason program, per league source. Alexander is currently not in attendance for the Packers' in-person workouts, per head coach Matt LaFleur. He reportedly participated in remote sessions last week. The Packers have had exploratory trade talks with other clubs involving Alexander. Releasing him is also another option. I've spoken to at least two teams monitoring Alexander's status for quite some time. So that's the first part of that from Josie there. Meanwhile, let's get to this of what the SI Chiefs site had to say. The Chiefs also did a good job at the 2025 NFL Draft to fill in more needs. The Chiefs 2025 NFL Draft class looks promising. They also got a lot of talented players at the back end of most rounds. The Chiefs did not want to fill in their needs. They went right after them from the beginning, and every round they made a pick that would help them in 2025 and beyond. One position they needed to fill was the cornerback position, and they did address it in the draft. But the Chiefs can possibly make a trade that will bring them in one of the best corners in the National Football League to Kansas City. The Chiefs can go out and trade for Jaire Alexander from the Green Bay Packers. Alexander is a Pro Bowler who can make the Chiefs' defense elite. So, a couple thoughts on this. This isn't a need for Kansas City. I love the draft pick of Noel Williams. You still have to figure out what to do with Jaylen Watson. Trent McDuffie, his contract situation still needs to be figured out long-term, although the Chiefs did pick up his fifth-year option, so that's a good first step in the right direction here. But really? Really? Trading for Jaire Alexander. And the idea that this would be the thing that makes the Chiefs' defense elite. News flash for you folks. I think the Chiefs' defense is already going to be elite in 2025. Chris Jones, Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, I could keep going on and on. You got one of the best defensive coordinators in the history of the league and Steve Spagnuolo. I just think this is more of a luxury than a need to address. Because you think about it right now. Let's say that you keep Jaylen Watson, that you're not trading him, okay, for this exercise. Let's just say that. Then I look at the corner room and I'm saying, all right, McDuffie goes to nickel. We got Kristian Fulton, who you brought over from the Chargers at one starting outside corner spot. I got Watson at the other starting outside corner. Oh, yeah, and then I got Noel Williams, who was a steal of a draft pick who had 7 interceptions last year. This is not a knock on Jaire Alexander at all. He's a very talented player. He's an all-pro. But if you're going to make an aggressive trade, because I think you're already really good at that position, I don't know how much better Alexander actually makes you. I understand if the Chiefs want to be aggressive and potentially make one more big trade if they feel they want to shore up that roster to make it known that they are the team to beat. But I don't think this is quite it. I don't think this does really that much when I feel you're already loaded at that position. Now, if you have to move on from Jaylen Watson, maybe it's a different story. Maybe Watson could be involved in a trade with Jaire Alexander. But to me, this is a bit of a head-scratcher. I think this is a bit of a reach trying too hard. What do you guys think? Should the Chiefs trade for Jaire Alexander? You got two options on our pinned comment today. Type Y for yes, in for no. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know what you think. More on Jaire Alexander, 28 years old, a 2021 first-round pick out of Louisville, has played his entire career with the Green Bay Packers. A terrific resume. He's got 2 second-team All-Pro appearances in 2020 and in 2022. Also, Pro Bowl campaigns in those seasons. He was named to the Pro Football Writers Association All-Rookie Team in 2018. And the production is certainly there over the years as well. You look at what he did in 2024. He played in 7 games. That's another thing. He's been pretty banged up. He's had some injury issues. He's played in a total of 14 games in the last 2 years. So that's not ideal, especially when you've already had the injury problems with Jaylen Watson as is. But with that said, when he's been out there, he's been really good. In 7 games last year, he accounted for 7 pass breakups, a fumble recovery, and he also had 2 interceptions. So for that sample size of the 7 games, he was really good. He was one of the best in football for those 7 games. But with that said, the injuries don't get better, typically speaking, when you get older. He is going to cost a lot of money. You're going to have to give up draft capital potentially, and it's a position you're already in a really good spot in. Personally, I think, in my opinion, if the Chiefs want to make a trade and better this team, I don't think it's corner. You could argue that maybe it's safety, although I like what the Chiefs have at the safety spot as is. You might argue it's the defensive line potentially. Although you did draft Omar Norman-Lott, maybe it's the tight end spot, finding somebody long-term. Although I don't think that's an immediate need. I think you're fine for this year with Travis Kelce and Noah Gray and Jared Wiley. So with all that said, I understand that Brett Veacha has to do his due diligence and always look for ways to try to improve this team and get better. I understand that thought process and that logic, especially when you're looking at a team that has high expectations to compete for championships. But with that said, this is still something where I'm saying to myself, it sounds nice, it would be exciting, but it's not totally necessary if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, if they were to make a trade, who's a player the Kansas City Chiefs should trade for? Is it Jaire Alexander? Is it somebody else? Well, in the comment section, give me a name that you would like to see end up in Kansas City. Tell us in the comment section below who that player is. Now, here's more from Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated on Jaire Alexander and the connection with Kansas City potentially. Albert Breer said this: I could throw in the San Francisco 49ers, Rams, Steelers, and Chiefs out there as teams that entered the draft with needs of the position and didn't take corners in the first 2 rounds of the draft. The question to me comes down to money. He's due $17.5 million this year, and because of his recent injury history, that's shown a bit rich for interested teams. Alexander, meanwhile, would rather be cut so he can pick his destination, and he might not be willing to help with a contract adjustment to facilitate a trade. Now, if Alexander is released and takes a pay cut, then you would have my full attention. Like, okay, maybe we can work something out. But a trade and taking on that contract, that seems like a steep pull at this point in time. Folks, appreciate you joining us here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. For continuing Chiefs coverage, subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.